Spider-Man, our favourite franchise.
You wouldn't tell it from that introduction, though. Callum's very excited.
Yeah, I am, and I will be. We're here to talk about the Raimi franchise, apparently. I don't know.
We're not exclusiving it.
We're here to talk about Spider-Man. We're not exclusiving it to the Raimi franchise, apparently. We've got absolutely no notes, no structure, no agenda.
But it's
a podcast. We're here to cast
really,
pods towards people.
Pods, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is.
This stands for what, Liam?
Pods, personal odor developments.
Nice.
Certainly happens here.
This is the Fools on a Hill podcast.
Wow.
As brought to you by Fools HQ. I'm Callum. This is Yanni and Liam.
Ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Hello. Why don't you subscribe or rate us and like the video?
I don't watch it.
Why don't you do it?
Why don't you do it? We're telling you now, rather than at the end when no one is still listening. Please do that.
You're gonna enjoy it.
Let us know your thoughts on Spider-Man. Do you love him? Do you hate him? What would you rate him?
You can't do that. You can't do that. No, that's trademarked.
He can't trademark words.
A short talk works.
Liam, you've been watching.
Oh, Christ.
The whole of the Marvel universe, even before it became a cinematic universe, because you've got no friends other than us, and you like to tell us all about your working from home escapades. Of you watching films?
Well, yeah.
Just in case anyone's listening from work.
That was a joke. He does this. Yeah,
finished.
of course.
It is. It is. Lunch breaks, etc., etc.
Yes.
What do you want to know, Colin?
Yes. Well, you've been watching the Spider-Man films, and you're watching it with a adult head, as you called it before.
An adult head, an adult brain. Yeah. So I've not revisited the Raimi trilogy since being a child. When did the last one come out? 2008?
7? Wasn't 8. 7.
Was the first one 99? 8?
No, 2002. 2002, 2004.
I'm thinking of Blade. I've just watched the Blade trilogy as well, by the way.
Different. How did that make?
So yeah, I've not watched it since being a kid, and I think it's interesting to revisit as an adult because obviously as a child, it all looks great, and Spider-Man's a great character, and all the villains are very scary. Not scary, but they're very threatening, and it's all very exciting, and really taking. I've got a really itchy armpit. I don't know if anyone's noticing this here.
I'm watching it exclusively.
It's very itchy. I need to dig deep.
It feels like it's like a teeth itch. You know what I mean? But obviously you can't get the angle.
It is. But yeah, so I've got no train of thought here in terms of what I'm trying to say. But it's been interesting to revisit as an adult after, years of MCU, and generally just getting into films a bit more and understanding films a bit more. To go back and see where it all started for Spidey on the big screen. There was stuff that a lot of it I remembered. Scene for scene, there's a lot of it remembered. Surprisingly, mostly in Spider-Man 3. I think that's just because I was then like 10 or almost 10 when that came out and just was aware of it a bit more. Although I can't imagine myself watching it a lot at that age, so it's interesting to think. I think the one that I would have seen the most was Spider-Man 2, for sure. Which someone's going to have to remind me who is in that one, because my mind...
Doc Ock.
Yes, of course, yes. Wow, that's a really good start, wasn't it? So
you're really qualified to talk about this topic.
Really qualified. But yeah, there was stuff that shocked me rewatching them. Stuff that kind of I'd completely forgotten about. Shocked is a very strong word there. Stuff I'd completely forgotten about. Kind of minor details I'd missed, and stuff that made more sense as an adult. None of which I'm going to talk about because I don't have any examples of that. But I will talk about one thing, which is the quality of the CGI in these films. Something I'd like to mention. Now the first one, early days, and there hadn't been an awful lot of films that were trying to achieve what this film was. not that I'm aware of anyway, especially in terms of a superhero. And obviously there's a certain style you want to achieve from that. Obviously the first Blade had come out before this, which didn't look great either. When did Blade 2 come out? 2002? So that's about the same time? Knowing that, actually. Is that right? Can someone fact check Blade 2 came out at the same time as
I'm
first
on it.
Spider-Man?
He's on it.
If that is true, Blade 2 looked a lot better than the first Spider-Man. Because I will say, some of the scenes in that first Spidey with Green Goblin...
2002.
Sorry, I was.
So they are the same year. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
2 months apart.
Okay.
3 months apart.
Some of those scenes with Green Goblin, particularly, are ropey as hell. There's a lot of stuff of Spidey jumping around, doing flips, which are clearly like just CGI.
Digital double.
They look like a video game character. Again, very similar to some of the stuff in the first Blade film. But they are definitely developed by the second Blade film. We're already on a tangent here. Blade, interesting trilogy. Let's move on to that next. No, but they hadn't quite got there in the first Spider-Man. Stuff could have looked a lot better. I feel like it was still trying to find its way in terms of just visual kind of setups, and the general look of the film was a little bit out there. A bit too grand for what it should have been.
Is when there's the rope swinging, the web swinging even, and it's clearly a doll.
Yes,
Just
that bit after he saved
solid doll.
Mary Jane from the carnival and the Macy Gray concert. Which always amuses me.
That's the scene I have in mind particularly. Is it the carnival? So when they're MJ's up with Harry Osborn on the balcony, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Green Goblin comes along and blows the balcony up.
Am I?
That's the part. It's also where Stanley's cameo is. Rip. But yeah, that's the bit in particular that kind of stands out to me. Now, I think from Spider-Man 2 onwards, it really wasn't as much an issue. There's definitely some bits that you can tell are quite CGI, but I do think
that wall fight when they're outside the bank, that's, I mean...
With
that's
Aunt May
CGI.
up on the...
Yeah.
Yes.
Fucking absolute hench is Aunt May. Her durability and upper body strength for someone who looks like she's about 140. Unreal. Unreal.
That's one good thing about, you've just reminded me of these Spider-Man films, is there's a great suspension of disbelief for but every aspect. How is his aunt that old? Do you know what I mean? What?
Yeah, but also, I don't think she was that old. Oh, all right, fair play. She's 96 now, so she would have been 76.
Yeah.
Well, 74.
And it just very much tried to kind of pull all the kind of recognisable parts from the comics. Didn't care to explain any of it, and I absolutely applaud it for that. Once you get into the weeds of it a bit too much, such as the Garfield ones, director Marc Webb, I believe that's correct.
It is correct.
That's when you start to try and fill those gaps, and it becomes muddy and a little bit.
Yeah, you don't need to explain everything.
You don't. No.
The best decision they made on the Raimi trilogy was making it that his webbing is
natural,
organic.
Yeah,
organic,
obviously Spider-Man came out when we were 5, turning 5, whatever. So that's just I know it'll be for people our age. That is Spider-Man to me, because of these films.
Yep.
That seems the most normal thing because he's he's a Spider-Man.
I don't think I'd seen the Amazing Spider-Man until after MCU Spider-Man had been introduced.
Wow.
I don't know if that's right. Possibly.
I mean,
anyway,
it's not that much. There's
definitely
not that much
Sorry.
time difference, so it's possible.
There's definitely a point much later on in my life where I saw, the machine web creator and thought, that's stupid. Do you know what I mean? Why are there another step? That doesn't make any sense. Completely unaware that that's actually the situation. Because,
maybe spiders have little gadgets, who knows?
I think that's completely rational thinking. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay.
But it just makes so much more sense. It feels so much more natural. It makes everything feel more natural. the whole scene, the part in Spider-Man 2 where I think it's Spider-Man 2 where he loses his abilities because he's stressed or whatever's going on.
Yeah, that only makes sense really if he can't do the weapon, doesn't it?
Yeah, him running out of supplies would be shit. Do you know what I mean? Who cares?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Sort it out. You can't create something and then that you've made your own issue there. And also, it's just to skip ahead a little bit. From what I recall from watching the I'm gonna have to call them. It feels weird calling them the Raimi trilogy and then the Garfield films because obviously it's director and actor, but that's definitely how I see it.
The Amazing Spider-Man films, you could say. TASM.
That's a lot more.
The shit ones.
Yeah, the TASMs. When watching the TASMs, the whole building the web thing wasn't explained in any way, as far as I remember. It was just like he's found.
It's just assumed that he should know how to do it.
He's got his powers. He's like swinging from ropes in that warehouse, and then he's like suddenly just making the machine going. Great. Okay. Where did you? When did this happen?
Okay.
When did you decide this was a thing? Doesn't make any sense. But
I do like the whole body horror vibe that gets carried through the Raimi trilogy.
It's so brutal.
Yeah.
For it being a kids,
it's files, isn't it?
Yeah, teen franchise, you can really see Raimi's horror background coming to the forefront.
I love that though.
Yeah,
that's what I needed as a kid.
Yeah, probably. But there are some moments, like I was watching back the first one the other day. There's some borderline jump scares throughout. You've got the Goblin being the Goblin, just coming up screaming. That part in the fire in the building where he's dressed up as the old woman, that still gets me on edge right now. Just the sound of the shriek, it's awful.
The Goblin's terrifying altogether.
Yeah, and then the end fight in the first one. That's so brutal. Really is.
That was one of the best parts of, and we're going to skip well ahead now, of No Way Home, was that whole fight scene that he has in the apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the brutal beatdown. Like that's what I want.
I agree. But the problem I've got with that fight scene is everything seems slowed down. Their body weight in the air doesn't seem right. That sounds so weird to say, but when they're going through the air, it's not. I don't know if it's for like dramatic effect or what, but their bodies just seem weightless, and it takes too long for anything to happen. Same with the final fight, where spoilers, but where Tom Holland is fighting the Goblin again, and he's like throwing the Goblin around and everything. It's just all too slow.
Yeah,
it feels fake.
I think
whereas the Raimi ones don't.
There's quite a lot of No Way Home where I thought the same thing when looking at Garfield and the Maguire Spider-Man. They just didn't feel right in that world. Which, it's 20 years later, especially for the Maguire one, and 10 years later for Garfield practically. It is completely different films, but they definitely got it right especially the Raimi trilogy, of even the bits that are clearly CGI that clearly look like it's from a video game, because I think I've seen like a YouTube kind of what's the word? Like an essay film,
video
essay. Video essay. That's the term I'm looking for. On this sort of thing, but just in terms of the lighting and the way the rest of the world looks. Is just that little bit more kind of gritty and real, that it doesn't stand out as much, and they don't use as much CGI, so it just kind of fits in with everything else in a weird way. Now it sounds counterintuitive, but it definitely does work. If you watch the Raimi stuff, you can just kind of allow the stuff, even if you can recognise that that's clearly fake. It does feel better than a more modern, say, MCU film, where you just feel like, well, none of this is real. And so, so you pick up on things where you could have done that better. Considering that's not real and you're not actually throwing each other around. Maybe you should just throw each other around. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
After watching some of the films, like some of the Blade stuff, and the much more.
Have you watched Blade?
Watched Blade, yeah. And Batman. I've just been watching the Dark Knight trilogy. The much more practical, actual fight sequences you can tell are two people fighting. So much more real than some of the stuff in the MCU.
As we were saying, that final fight in the first Raimi film. It's so brutal. Like you just even now I've seen that fight scene probably 20 times, and you're still engrossed because you just I don't know.
You feel like you're in it. You feel like
yeah,
you're in that alleyway.
Yeah, and the way his mask is beaten to shreds, like you don't get that anymore. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter talk about this, and like the most that we've got from Spider-Man now is a bit of a scuff on the suit, just to then show that there's another suit underneath, which is just crap. And Tom Holland is always taking his mask off. Yeah.
Hey.
But like I saw someone say, if you want to have his mask off, have it like the Tobey one where you can still see Tom Holland's face, and then you get the best of both worlds. And it just feels like maybe this will happen going into the next trilogy where it's going to be more grounded if Sony don't get their horrible claws all over it. Like Trixie is on my feet right now. Hopefully it will go that route where it's just a suit he's made. It's just a bit of lycra, and it's not all. It's not a fucking sentient being on his body. I don't know. That's not what I'm trying to say, but you know what I mean. It just feels more gritty, which I don't think it will be because it's Marvel, and it'll be all. I don't know. I trust them with what they're going to do story-wise, but I don't think stylistically it'll be the right.
It's just too pretty and clean. I think
yeah.
The issue.
Yes. Have you seen all those like screenshots and everything that people have been putting online or on Twitter of No Way Home? This is what I was saying that the other day in the chat. So there's been screenshots of No Way Home, and then screenshots of Madam Web, and Madam Web looks like an actual film, whereas No Way Home just looks like two actors or an actor just stood in front of a fake background in a non-existent place.
Yeah, the one of Flash is
really. It just all seems so empty, doesn't it, and just lifeless. But I've never felt that when watching the film. But then in hindsight, it's really bad.
Yeah. Just want to say, Spider-Man was probably the first film I watched where I realised I fancy women. Just Kirsten Dunst, just fantastic choice.
My big gripe is the hair color in Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3 because they nailed it in Spider-Man 1.
It's a bit darker, isn't it?
Yeah, very dark in 1.
I can't say I really noticed until you just said it.
Yeah,
it's a. Don't shoot me.
Sorry, I'm sorry about
that. Favorite suit? What do you reckon?
Oh, across everything.
Yeah, across them all.
See,
across the multiverse.
I'd have probably said the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. However, I don't actually. I don't actually know in hindsight. It's fine, but I don't know. I think I'm always probably going to say the Raimi suit just for nostalgia, which I know I should try and exclude from my thinking, but I can't. To be quite honest.
Yeah, for me, it's the Raimi one's the right one. It's the same with the webs. You know what I mean? That's just correct in my head. It feels right.
Playing the game, I'm always in the Raimi suit. So I think that answers the question.
I do like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Andrew suit though that he wears. It's about the eyes on it.
The eyes are bang on.
Yes.
Obviously, the whole animated eyes for all the Marvel MCU ones are great. I love that addition to it. But those big eyes on Andrew's suit is great.
Yeah, it's interesting in No Way Home seeing the different suits, them all together, and you kind of start to notice the actual differences between them a bit more.
Yeah. Well, obviously in the MCU for toy sales, they've had fucking 3 suits per film. They've teased where they're going with the next one. I just hope that they stick to that now because that looks like it has potential to be
the shiny blue one.
Yeah, does look nice,
I
doesn't it?
really like the look of that.
that has potential to just be the quintessential film suit.
I've never been a big fan of the MCU ones with kind of, they clearly look gadgeted up. Do you know what I mean? They're very Tony Stark up.
Yeah.
Never been a massive fan of that. It doesn't feel like Spider-Man. It just feels like the Avengers Spider-Man. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not just good old Spidey friendly neighborhood Spider-Man anymore. But yeah, that new suit does look very cool.
Hopefully, this is a fresh start for them because I've enjoyed the MCU Spider-Man, but hopefully, get a bit of Kingpin involved. Like even Scorpion that they teased at the end of Homecoming, which would have been interesting.
There've been obviously they left a teaser for the symbiote in that world, which makes no sense. But don't try and think about it.
Why doesn't it make sense?
Because everyone that knew who he was got transported back.
Yeah, but wasn't explained that symbiotes share a connected conscience across the
yes,
whole...
but everyone that knew him got sent back.
So but he got sent back. But symbiote's
all
not
of it
a person.
should have been sent back.
There was a new Rockstars video
there in the first place, though, isn't it?
Because it was part of Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
So there was a new Rockstars video the other day,
and that fell off him in
the universe. It doesn't make sense to him. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Well, for the third time, there was a new Rockstars video the other day where Eric Voss, I think his name is, was suggesting that he wasn't transported to that universe at the same time as everyone else, and it was some other shit because of on the news. It was when Peter had just been announced as being Spider-Man.
Mysterio.
Yeah. I wasn't really paying attention to the video, but yeah, but no one knows why Venom was there. It just seems like a stupid idea to get the symbiote when I'm sure they could have done it a million other ways.
Yeah,
it would have been better. So going forward, there are very tentative rumors of a Raimi Spider-Man 4.
Yes.
And then we've obviously got the next MCU trilogy. We've got potential for more. Andrew Garfield probably won't happen into a solo movie, but then we've also potentially got Secret Wars. So
that's happening.
Yeah, but I don't know when. So where do you want Spider-Man to go? What would be your ideal?
I want the Tom Holland one to be grounded, building up until Secret Wars, depending on they'll probably be able to get one out and then Secret Wars, won't they? I think maybe, and then his next two after it. So yeah, a more grounded Tom Holland one.
Well, he should get the symbiote in Secret Wars, and then it could be
Secret Wars where he gets it, and then you've got the last two films of his trilogy to be like working out at least the middle one to be working out what to do with the symbiote, have that whole saga. The third one, I don't know, could still be part of that maybe with a team up of some kind, perhaps. I don't fucking know.
It'd be good if they didn't waste Carnage on Venom 2, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have been very good. I mean, I wouldn't even be mad if they just did another version. To be honest with you,
they totally couldn't they? There's nothing to stop
It's a weird addition to have fucking what's his face as Carnage.
They could finally get Jesse Plemons to do it, which is like my dream.
He's obsessed with this, by the way.
Yeah, and then it could be the whole Kirsten Dunst link as well. Not that she's in the MCU, but I mean they could shoehorn Tobey in somehow, I'm sure. I just think.
Sorry.
No, just
with Tobey, I don't know anything meta, outside of the films. I don't really pay attention like you two nerds do. But with Tobey Spider-Man being injured at the end of No Way Home, is that kind of then just assumed that that's him done?
No.
Is
I do think they should
outside of the films to say otherwise that he could be.
Yes, that was just what Callum was saying.
If they were never going to bring him back, they would have probably killed him for maximum effect.
I don't think that would have played well. I don't think they'd have scored any.
Yeah, but it would have been
to that one.
Yeah, but everyone knew that there was supposed to be another film, and that would have ended the arc.
Sam Raimi said that he'd do another one recently in an interview. And
he was a bit standoffish, but he said recently, yeah.
Tobey specifically said, "Don't do much of a backstory for my character in No Way Home. for the reasons being that he doesn't want to write off a potential of doing another one. So
My
or
man
write
wants
him
the
into a
bag.
corner. So yeah. So I'd be happy to see a Spider-Man 4. I'd be happy to finish a trilogy with Andrew Garfield, to be honest, because he runs rings around those two in No Way Home. He's
really
phenomenal.
Good. That was going to be a question of mine, was who's the best Spider-Man? Simple as that.
Well, I mean, if we're counting all of them, I think Andrew's probably boosted himself way up just in No Way Home. I don't think he's a great Peter Parker. He's too cool.
Okay.
He's way too cool for Peter Parker, but he's quippy. The way he sort of moves and stuff, it's just perfect Spider-Man. I think Tobey's probably the best Peter Parker, and Tom Holland's sort of like the phrase is the best of both, but I don't think he's anywhere near
I think he's just
either of them.
A modern version that it doesn't.
Yeah.
That kind of personality doesn't exist in the modern age. Do you know what I mean? Of like, the nerdy. I just don't feel like that's a thing anymore. So I feel like he's the kind of the best middle ground you can achieve for a modern day Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I completely agree. I think Garfield's the best Spider-Man. I also agree that I think he is a bit too cool for Peter Parker. But when he's in that suit, it's night and day for sure. In No Way Home, it really made me realise that kind of Tom Holland is a bit of a strange one. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. I think he's great in his films on his own, and then once he's with those two, he kind of it just didn't quite feel right in the same way, because I think they both kind of surround him in different ways and fill the gaps.
His tone matches the rest of the MCU, which obviously Andrew and Tobey don't.
Yeah.
And then because the excitement of them coming back was so rife, you focus in on them more. So they're the ones that are sticking out like a sore thumb. But obviously, because you already know them, you kind of resonate with that more.
Yeah,
I suppose.
But I think even just rewatching it the other week and being fully aware they're all going to come, and being fully aware.
Hello.
Webs galore.
So childish.
Kind of being aware of all three of their stories, blah blah. You're absolutely right. I think Tom Holland's great in the MCU, and I think his standalone films are great, and he works with these Avengers. Completely perfect casting to some degree. However, as standalone Spideys, when the three of them together,
he's the least watchable.
He's the least kind of fitting. I think Garfield really fits the Spider-Man role. Tobey really fits an older Peter Parker, sort of like the one in Spider-Verse with who's the dad. Very, very similar to that at this point. And Tom doesn't. He just fits within the MCU. I don't know.
He's like he's like this in all the films. He's like an excitable puppy, and you can tell he's like the kid who's excited by all this. He knows the concept of the multiverse because it's in the MCU, whereas the other two don't, because they don't have it. Well, they do, but they're not accustomed to it. And I don't know. I just think going forward, I want Tom Holland's Peter Parker to be a bit more of a human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just a bit more normal.
Well, now he's starting from the beginning. He's starting from the bottom, isn't he, now? So
yeah.
Aubrey.
I've got a fear that they're just going to reverse that so quickly, though.
Yeah, I don't want
them to, but I feel like they will.
I'm very worried about what Amy Pascal wants, especially after Madam Web. I think they're just going to try and double down and be like, no Way Home made, what was it, 2 billion or something stupid?
Yeah, I'm hoping
we're doing that again.
Re-release of all. Have we mentioned that this is partly the reason? Well, no, we didn't.
No.
No. Anyway, they were re-releasing all the Spider-Man films.
Not in the UK though, apparently.
Oh, have you found that out? Have you?
Oh, well, so someone put it in a comment on Twitter, and it was. It also said
it's only on a Monday.
Yeah.
What the hell? As well. Anyway, what I was getting at is that they're re-releasing all those, obviously to make back the money that they've lost from Madam Web. I'm hoping that'll keep Sony hush while Marvel sort out the story right and everything for Spider-Man 4. And it'll keep Sony at bay. Keep their dirty little trotters off it.
Yeah. Yeah, we all know that needs to happen.
Yeah.
It will be really shit if the next Spider-Man film is just him finding a way to reverse everything. I'm kind of playing that forward in my head, and it's just not an enjoyable watch, is it? I want to see him struggle from the bottom, and if at some point it gets reversed, sure, but
he's just got to win them back over, hasn't he? It can't be reversed. If they're gonna do that, then this is the perfect time to introduce Gwen Stacy.
Definitely.
To make him question his feelings or whatever.
That would be a great not down to earth. I think that's what I mean. Like a great grounded is the word I'm looking for. Story arc really would be like when Stacy come into his life, he has to kind of move on from MJ.
Yeah.
Once he starts getting feelings for Gwen Stacy, MJ works out again who he is, and then he has to battle with that. And that's like that's a struggle that he has to deal with in one of the movies. That'd be a great arc.
Mm-hmm.
Be right, Spider-Man 4.
Is Gwen Stacy's dad always a police commissioner or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that was definitely the case in TASM, wasn't it? But in Spider-Man 2,
it was,
wasn't he like just like someone powerful? I can't remember exactly.
I don't know. But I can't remember the guy who played him in the TASM ones, but he mentioned in the potential TASM 3 that he was going to be brought back from the dead. And just the potential plot of that film would have just been absolutely bonkers. Your hair looks lovely, Annie. Please stop. Do you reckon they'll introduce a Harry Osborn and a Norman Osborn in the MCU, or do you reckon they've?
I don't want them to.
Kind of.
I feel like
I didn't like Harry Osborn in TASM.
Not worth it anymore. It would be too weird because he's met the best version of Green Goblin that there's going to be. So I think it would just be weird, and it's not necessary. He's got so many villains to pick from.
Yeah, Ned Leeds Hobgoblin.
Yeah, and some of them have already been set up and not even reintroduced, like Scorpion, for example. In the comics, I was watching a video and they said that Scorpion apparently has the symbiote at one point. So that might be a way around changing the story a little bit, because we've seen Venom a lot. Never in a satisfactory way, but we've seen him a lot.
I watched a bit of Venom the other day. It was on telly, and I enjoyed it at the time. Not necessarily the second one. The first one I thought was quite fun, and obviously we're getting Venom 3,
The Last Dance.
The Last Dance in
the end
about
of this year.
5 months. Like have they even finished filming that yet, or if they have?
Yeah, just about or something.
Is that what's called? The Last
seems like
Dance?
Yeah. Yes. It seems like an incredibly quick turnaround, which really
it is.
Doesn't make me feel confident in any way, shape, or form. But we'll do a review of that. I'm sure that might be quite funny.
I haven't seen the first two.
Oh well.
Do you know what? Actually, I started to watch the first one, and just didn't like the tone.
I thought there was potential in the first one.
There's potential in all these Sony films, but they fuck it up somehow, don't they?
Yeah.
But then again, I had the same issue with Deadpool when I first watched that, and I think that was around the same time. So maybe I should try Venom. I mean, I'm not implying that Venom's as good as Deadpool for sure, but yeah, maybe I'll just try that again. Although obviously we're moving away from even Marvel at this point, but after just seeing Tom Hardy as Bane in Dark Knight Rises, which I cannot decide whether I've seen before. I kind of feel like I know every scene, but I somehow just know it from osmosis, or it was in a dream. Do you know what I mean? I don't remember actually watching it. But anyway, it's fucking amazing, that film. So good.
Yeah.
So good. If there were sorry to go off topic here. If there were certain cuts made to that last Dark Knight film, it's nearly up there with the Dark Knight for me.
Yeah.
If you were to cut that properly and get the right story and cut out certain bits, to be honest, I found a lot of the Talia Al Ghul. It's weird saying Al Ghul without Ra's al Ghul. There's a lot of that I found a bit annoying, and there's some other bits that I kind of was like, oh, this is dragging out a little bit. But obviously Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, unnamed. Very good, very very good. And it's a shame it just didn't. It was just too much. But and there's also too much set in the daytime. It's very light.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked great.
There's a lot of like.
It felt weird.
Specifically, I think when he starts flying, or you see that the flying bat copter, whatever it is. I remember like there's a top-down shot of like the city, and it just looks like a documentary thing for Chicago, where it clearly is being shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that always hits me out whenever I see that shot in that film. Do you have anything else to talk about, or shall I hit you with the hardest Spider-Man quiz?
Have you vetted this quiz?
You will ever take.
Is it hard?
I don't know. You have to find out.
Oh God, how are we going to do it?
Are
we working together? Callum,
yeah, go on. Let's work together. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. Let's work together.
Well, break the illusion here, Carl. This one's easy, so hit you into it. What part-time job does Peter Parker have in Spider-Man 2?
Well done.
The options are...
Oh, no, hang on. In Spider-Man 2,
he's a pizza
delivery.
Bartender. Pizza delivery boy.
Pizza delivery.
Pizza time. What? Right, we didn't talk about these. Spider-Verse. Great. What comedian voices...
We should have talked about it.
Yeah, we should.
We should do a video on that.
No, we're not doing the Spider-Man video. Fuck this.
I can't wait for the next one.
Which comedian voices Spider-Ham in Into the Spider-Verse? Andy Samberg, John Mulaney, Charlie Day.
Is it John Mulaney?
Andy Samberg does one, but is he like anxious Spider-Man or something?
What was the third choice? Charlie. It's not Charlie Day, is it? I thought I had more of a gruff voice, if I'm being honest. But I can't.
I don't think it's Andy Samberg. Who was the other one?
John Mulaney.
John Mulaney.
That's such a distinct voice. Yeah, John Mulaney seems right.
Andy Samberg is Spider-Punk.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he?
And he's really depressed in the film. He's the one that's always like really like.
This is the second film, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, Into the Spider-Verse is the first one.
Anyway, next question.
In the Amazing Spider-Man films, you did get it right. Andrew Garfield played a rather emo version of Peter Parker. Which of these hobbies did he have, which he'd never really done before? Skateboarding, playing guitar, graffiti.
Skateboarding.
What was the question? In the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's an emo. I missed the first part, and I was thinking of in Spider-Man 3 when he's a bit emo. But yeah, he does skateboard and Tasm. Yeah, skateboarder.
Okay, that's the one. Correct. Speaking of Spider-Man 3, what song plays during the infamous dance scene? Is it Boogie Wonderland by Earth, Wind and Fire?
No.
People Get Up and Drive That Funk Soul by James Brown? Or Walk On By Isaac Hayes?
I think it's the second one.
Go with, I'm happy with either the second or the third. I don't know.
Go with the second one. I think it's James Brown. Okay. You said it was James Brown, didn't you?
Correct, it's James Brown. What is the name of the AI built into Peter's suit in Spider-Man Homecoming? Is it Karen, Anna, or May?
Karen.
Correct. Fun fact, do you want this? It's voiced by Jennifer Connelly, who was married to Paul Bettany, who was the voice of Jarvis.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Tony Stark. Did you not know that, guys? No?
No.
God, I'm such a nerd.
I had no idea they were married.
Which singer... Oh, fucking hell, this is...
Sorry, was that not a fun fact on the website? Was that a fun fact from your brain?
It's on the website.
Oh, I was going to say, the way you said it seemed like you were reading it. Go on.
Which singer has a cameo when the Green Goblin attacks World Unity Fair in the first Spider-Man film?
Macy Gray.
Correct. You know what song she sings?
Not in the film.
No, it's not like a famous one, I don't think.
I don't know what it is. Which nation's football shirt does Peter Parker wear for a bit? In Spider-Man Far From Home, that sounds so British.
The Netherlands. Holland.
Is it not like a...
Correct. Correct. Sorry.
Is that because he's Tom Holland?
I never thought about that.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Why else was it? When does he wear it? In what film?
Well, he gets hit by the train, doesn't he, because of Mysterio doing all the stuff, and then he
Yes.
ends up in a small Dutch village.
Yes, I remember that now.
What is the name of the girl who is Peter Parker's neighbor in Spider-Man 2? Is it Maria, Ivanka, or Ursula?
Ivanka.
Ursula.
Ursula.
I think it's Ursula.
I don't feel like any of those feel right to me.
No, but out of them, I think it's Ursula.
I would have said like ended with like a Vina or something. I'll go with Ivanka. I can't go with Ursula, so he wins.
We're on the same team, knobhead.
Go on, Jan.
It is Ursula.
Oh, okay.
Who voices Spider-Man Noir in Into the Spider-Verse?
Is it Nicolas
John
Cage?
Travolta, Nicolas Cage, or Christian Slater?
Nicolas
Nick
Cage.
It's old Nicky. Who is this? That's good. You can't see the
Go on,
picture.
describe it.
I don't want to because I feel like I'll get cancelled. It's
don't do
Flash
it, bad.
Thompson. What is the name of the wrestler played by
Fantastic.
Randy Savage in Spider-Man 1? Is it?
Bonesaw McGraw.
Saul McGraw, yeah.
Is it? It's Bones. Which Spider-Man villain has been played or voiced by both Donald Glover and Mahershala Ali? Is it the Prowler, Venom, or Scorpion?
Prowler. Who's this the hardest Spider-Man quiz for?
Don't know.
People who haven't watched the films.
Yeah.
They're very sugar.
Complete this Spidey quote from Captain America: Civil War. Hey guys, you ever seen that really old movie? Return of the Jedi, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. They've been a bit mean with that, haven't they?
They have. I think it's just Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah. I feel like that's the joke, isn't it? Well, actually, the first one was just called Star Wars, wasn't it?
Incorrect. It was Empire Strikes Back.
Ah.
You fools.
Oh, this is the hardest quiz ever.
Why would you pick
What
Empire Strikes Back?
That's the best one. What is the middle initial of the schlubby 30-something Peter Parker in Into the Spider-Verse?
J?
Is it Peter Q, Peter B, or Peter J?
Oh, I thought it was J off the bat, but
Oh,
the B
they're not-
sounds right.
B
actually,
for
nice.
Ben. B for Ben.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, B
B
feels
for
right.
Ben.
actually.
It was Q. No, it's B. Which bridge does the final confrontation between Spider-Man and Green Goblin take place on? Is it Brooklyn, George Washington, or Queensborough?
I'd say Brooklyn. But I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, not a clue. Let's go
Tell me
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn then. It's the Queensborough Bridge. You guys are so stupid. What is the name of the teacher from Homecoming and Far From Home? Is it Mr. Starr, Mr. Conway, or Mr. Harrington?
Harrington. He's
Harrington.
played by Martin Starr.
Played by Martin Starr, yeah.
Correct. And finally,
Thank God.
what? You're having fun. What is the name of Spider-Man's Christmas album? Christmas with the Spider-Verse. My Christmas sense is tingling.
No,
A very Spidey Christmas.
I think
Would you read me again?
one of the second two.
Christmas with the Spider-Verse. My Christmas sense is tingling, or A very Spidey Christmas.
Ah, they both sound right, but I can't.
I don't know. I go with my Christmas sense is tingling. That seems more fun.
Yeah, seems more fun. Let's go for that.
Wrong. It's A very Spidey Christmas. You got 14 out of 17, which makes you.
Only 3 wrong.
And one of them was because it was a visual one. That Yanni just didn't even bother.
Yeah, so you got 14 out of 16.
I'll take that.
We only got 2 wrong. Wow, fair play. If you need to know anything about Spider-Man, come to us. Because clearly
Well,
we
no.
know everything.
No, we don't, do you?
No,
Well,
everything.
I
That's
mean,
what the quiz says.
We know quite a lot.
I'm not saying that. The quiz is saying it.
We know quite a lot as someone who's just watched the films and 2 people that haven't watched them in years.
If I was
who
taking
know
the
more than I
quiz,
do.
I would have got 100%. So come to me about it.
Across the 3 of us, we'll answer in some way or another.
That is
That's a promise.
undeniable.
That's a false promise.
False promise. Anything else you want to talk about before we swing off into the distance?
Well, I've heard this this great quote that
Oh God.
if you come across great power, then you must also be somewhat responsible. As I believe it was quoted in Madam Web or something like
You
that.
should have said the Madam Web one perfectly.
I know,
Why didn't you prepare
because
that,
I
you
only
dick?
thought of it that second. I didn't have time. Hang on, let's take it back. Guys.
This is such a shit quote. I've just read it.
Guys, I've got this quote for you.
What is it?
Once I've found it.
Fuck's sake, Liam. I had it up.
When you take on the responsibility, inverted commas, great power will come.
Wow.
Wow.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. It's been Spider-Man related again. Subscribe, like, ding the bell, and leave a comment about whatever you want, really. Could be about Liam Gallagher if you want. We seem to get a lot of them. Love you and leave you.